Hi, everybody. I'm Viv from Hey Viv Retro Clothing, and I'm here today with Jen, the owner of Hey Dollface, which specializes in curated vintage accessories and whimsical jewels handmade here in New York City. Jen is also a costume designer and wardrobe tech for film and TV. And Jen, I hear that Hey Dollface has a big anniversary. Is this something?
Yes. It was actually May 29th. And, during this odd year of 2020, I realized it 3 days later. But yes, it was my 12-year business anniversary with Hey Dollface. And it's been a great 12 years. I'm glad to still be on board.
That's a great milestone. And tell us a little bit more about Hey Dollface, how it came about, and how your fascination with vintage clothing grew from a jewelry design business into a costume design career.
Right. So it was actually kind of a slippery slope once you get started. But 12 years ago, when I started designing jewelry, basically, I was always looking for unique statement pieces. And I like to use really bright components and things like that, but I was finding a lot of what was out there that was accessible in, wherever I was shopping, that the pieces weren't very high quality, and sort of the way they were made was diminished from how older costume jewelry construction was. So I started to get really interested in that. I had an interest in jewelry design going back to when I was 5 and 6 years old. I do in that scene in Cinderella where the mice restrung the pearls. So it was all downhill or uphill from there, if you will. But yeah, I mean, when I started looking into different people that were designers of costume jewelry, going all the way back to the 1920s and 30s, I was looking at Miriam Haskell, and I came across Eugene Joseph, which he was a costume jewelry designer who ended up also falling into film when starting with jewelry. So he started, excuse me, I almost called it Joseph Originals. That's a different, I'll edit that. But he started Joseph, his own line, where he was making jewels for movies like Cleopatra, Roman Holiday, basically the affluent, opulent Hollywood eras where they needed these wonderful jewels, and it was not really within cost to have real rubies and real emeralds. So he would use the same techniques as other jewelers, like you said, real stones, but costume jewelry. So just as much work went into each piece, even though it was not what's considered precious metals. Right. That's why I started to source older components that were not used. And not all of them. I use a lot of new materials as well. Some things are just, you shouldn't use. Old clasp can fall apart, certain chain, but the stones, cabochons, and techniques I try to stick with distinctly somewhere between 1930 and 1990. So
okay.
It's kind of infusing different styles, very retro, very kitschy, but it is now, and it is still fun costume jewelry. If you're making a statement, it enhances your outfit, it changes your outfit, and it adds to your character, which brought me to character design.
The right piece of jewelry just makes it great.
Exactly. I was so happy to have my blue daisies. I was like, oh, I need blue daisies. Like, oh, good, I made them.
I have them. And how did this then morph into, it really just grew into this career of costume and wardrobe tech? So how did that come about?
Well, I always start with an accessory. So I've always been like that my whole life. And from there, I wanted to also add the clothes. And then I was always enthralled with getting dressed as well, like going back to being a kid, not just dress up, but just, I don't know, it's a really important form of self-expression for anyone. But when I got really into it, being a person who is a huge fan of storytelling in general, I realized that I really like dressing characters, and it's not always about dressing someone beautifully, which is fun, and I really enjoy that, but it's really dressing the person for who they are or who they're playing. Or who they want to convey themselves to be. Some people, they'll wear a power necklace to a job interview because it makes them feel like more of a powerful person. It changes their character, or it enhances their character in real life. And that's sort of where the overlap came in. And I got more interested in sewing. I took a sewing intensive when I was 25 in Manhattan, and I learned from some really wonderful people how garments are made and designed. And, it's always just been my dream to kind of marry all of it together and then tell stories with it visually.
Well, Jen, that's what I love about your story, is that you took your passion and used that to further your career and gain the confidence to go into new aspects of something that you were really good at, but maybe you needed a little push, a little class. And once you got into it, you realized that's what you wanted to do. I admire you.
Yeah, no, I mean, once I fell into it, you'll be a bit self-conscious when you're starting anything new, especially, you know, I came from an administrative background. There are a lot of overlaps, though. You'd be surprised. Offices and costume design, not that different. But once I got there and I realized I was amongst kind of my own, and then I was amongst people that also want to make really interesting, cool visuals.
Oh, yeah.
I really kind of felt like I had arrived a bit, and it did boost my confidence, and I'm still climbing that mountain. So
it's great to work with other people who share your passion. So
100%.
now we can learn or follow Jen on Instagram at Hey Dollface _brand. And your website is heydollface.com. So if you want to see what Jen's up to. Thank you for talking with us today, Jen. This is Jen.
Thank you.
Hey Dollface. She's a costumer, designer, and in my opinion, one of the best dressed people I've ever seen. You always look very beautiful, very cute.
As you, Viv, and I learned it from the best.
I did wear a hat for this interview, so.
Oh, as long as it has daisies, I really enjoy it.
Yes.
Perfect.
And I'm Viv from Hey Viv Retro Clothing. Thank you for joining us today.